Hi guys, and welcome back to the Inspo Pod with me, your host, Bethany Irish. We're well into season two, which is amazing. And today I wanted to talk about productivity, motivation, and staying positive because a few of you have asked me how I stay motivated, how I stay happy. And not only have these questions come from sort of fans and listeners of the show, but also people that know me have asked, how do you stay so busy and so motivated? So I really just wanted to sort of discuss that in a little bit more detail, because I do feel personally as though I'm in the happiest place I've ever been. I'm not rich, I'm not super successful. I'm not thin, I'm not skinny, I'm not any of those things, but within myself, I'm the happiest version of myself. And I'm thriving in that version. So let's pray for the money and the skinny. Maybe in a year or two's time, I'll be rich and slim. Um, but in life in general, and in my mind, in my daily routines, I'm super, super positive and super motivated. And I feel like I'm just thriving where I'm at. So I am someone that, for transparency, that is always busy. I'm always on the go. I get up super early. I'm always running around, like rushing. Um, and I'll be super honest with you guys that it's not always positive because something I need to work on this year and ongoing is definitely learning to slow down and learning to have those sort of breaks. And I'm going to come on to that sort of later in the podcast. Sort of learning when to be kinder to yourself. And I'm trying to do that and trying to incorporate that every single day, and every month, which I'll go on to later, because there are certain times of the month when it's more important to do that. So that's something I'm actively working on because I'm not very good at slowing down. I'm not very good at being kind to myself within my routine. However, on the flip side, I will say being motivated and being busy works for me. And I think it's a superpower. So let's get into it. So, how do I stay so positive in life? I think there are lots of reasons around this. And I think, you know, it's all the cliches, really, isn't it? It's, look for the little things, glimmers. I call it glimmers. I think this is quite a common thing that I see online where it's look for the glimmers in your day rather than looking for the things that annoy you. So just keep your eyes open at all times for little things that, put a smile on your face. It could be you getting on the tube and you see someone help an old person, and that is rare in London, for example. Or it could be you're walking down the street and you just actively make sure you're looking at the trees and the flowers and you just notice nature, or you see a squirrel running, and it's just consciously like noticing the little things, actively looking for the happy things, and then taking them in and letting them make you happy. Like some people be like, oh, it's just a squirrel. Well, yeah, it is, but like how beautiful. It's a squirrel, it's life, it's like an animal, it's, whatever. Um, so that is one thing that I try and do daily. And there are lots of other little things, I try and journal, which obviously I need to get better at. I'm so bad at it. I need to get better. I just bought myself a new journal from Love N NDU. Not sure if anyone's heard of them, but I've not tried the journal yet. I'll give you an update, but I'm so excited. It looks really good. And I love like a journal that's got like to-do lists and like all that kind of stuff. Um, I try and just like dance as well a lot, put music on, dance every day, sing, put music on in the shower. But I think the main thing that keeps me positive is getting up early and being productive and keeping myself accountable. And the reason I want to discuss this today is because there's a really common myth, and I think it's becoming more and more prevalent, that getting up early and being productive and being hard on yourself is like a form of, self-loathing or whatever. And staying in bed and just being comfy and being happy and, self-care, this whole self-care movement and, this whole treat yourself movement, that's a form of self-love. And I actually believe the opposite. As I said, I'm going to come on to later, that there's a place for that and there's times to do that. And it's really important to find the balance. We're not sitting firmly on one side of the fence to the other. But I think actually discipline, getting up early and keeping yourself accountable is actually a really big form of self-love. It's it is an act of self-love. And I think the reason I'm so positive and so happy is because I'm so consistent with that. And consistency really is key. Don't get me wrong, I have really bad days. I struggle at certain points in my cycle. I have PCOS, which I struggle with. And there are times when I find it really hard. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not perfect. I'm not, you know, if anything, I'm too far this way where, like I said, I need to learn to slow down. But I am definitely consistent. I'm definitely productive. I definitely keep myself accountable. And I really limit having a lie in, you know, eating shit food, being lazy. Like I limit that as much as I can. And that I think is what keeps the overall happiness because I see the results of it. And weirdly, in the little difficulties that you face daily, like for some people, it's really hard to get up, right? So if I get up early 6 days of the week, each day you might think, oh, this is a slog, like this is hard, this is tricky. And, you know, that may be the case. And it may feel like you're not giving yourself self love in those moments. But overall, like by the time you get to the end of the week and you've had that lie in, I promise you, you feel so good. And it's just learning that, like, these little acts of discipline and accountability do contribute to overall happiness. It's really important. I really want to stress that. So let's get on to early mornings. Early mornings for me are the absolute bomb. And I do appreciate in life that there are, morning people and evening people. But I also, in a weird way, think that's a little bit of a myth. Feel free to disagree with me. But I also think it can be a little bit of an excuse because I used to not be a morning person. I used to sit so comfortably in that. I used to just sit so comfortably in the, oh, I'm just not a morning person. I just never will be. I'm just a lazy person. I just have bad genes. I just have this. I never grew up with a mum that got up early and, I didn't have that in the home growing up where it's like, some people have like super mum. She's up at 6. She's got all the packed lunches ready. She's got this. She's got that. Da da da. I had to get up and get my own breakfast from a very early age. And I think for a short while in my teens and early 20s, I would very much sit in the excuse of, oh, I wasn't taught that growing up, so I'm not a morning person. Oh, I had to do all this stuff when I was a child, so now I'm treating myself. Like now I'm allowing myself some space. And it's just, I'll be honest, guys, it's just bullshit. It is just bullshit. And I think the biggest barrier to success and happiness in life is believing our own bullshit. It's really true. Like, we so believe our own hype. It's a joke. And I think the second I realized that actually I can be anything I want to be and be whoever I want to be and got out of that mindset, life has just become it's become a completely different life. I turned that into, oh no, I want to be a morning person. I can be a morning person. And I think even though there are morning people and like night owls, I do believe that for a night owl, you can train yourself within a matter of weeks to be a morning person. And if you've got fucking goals to hit and you want to be happy and you want to get shit done, you really have to commit to it. You have to embrace that and become a morning person. And I think sometimes it can just be used an excuse of, oh, I'm a night owl. Well, no, you've just got into a habit of staying up late. And then your brain works overtime because you've slept in. So that's when your thinking comes and that's when your creativity comes. You can teach your brain to do the opposite. We're so versatile as human beings. Like human beings are incredibly versatile, incredibly moldable, adaptable, like evolutionary, like we can evolve into anything. I mean, you only have to look at athletes and how, like, through training and nutrition and willpower and mindset and all of that stuff, how they can literally go from being a normal human being to being this incredible athlete. You can train your body and your mind to do anything. I promise you that. So I do think it's a little bit of a myth. I think if you wanna get shit done, you will. And it's just whether you're prepared to get over your own bullshit or not. And I'm speaking very matter of fact. There's going to be people listening I know that can be like, no, I'm definitely a night owl. Shut the fuck up. But I just disagree. I really do disagree. Being someone that used to be that way myself, I just know. And I used to go on a lot of nights out when I was really, really young, back in the uni days in Manchester. I used to be like, well, I love going out. 3 nights a week, I'm out till 3 a.m. It's my best time of the day. Like, I'll sleep until 11 and then in the evening I'll go party or I'll be creative or I'll go to the library at 10 p.m. and just work for a few hours and I get my best shit done. And I've come to realize, having changed my mindset and changed my plans in life, that really that wasn't true. I am actually much more productive in the morning. I just wasn't prepared to get up and do it. Um, so it really is mindset, if I'm honest. And as I said, we as humans tend to believe our own bullshit. So it literally is the story that you tell yourself. If you tell yourself the story that actually you're a powerhouse and you get up and you get shit done, you like it doesn't take long to train your mind and your body to be convinced. You know, the mind is so powerful, and our thoughts are so powerful. What we think and what we speak to ourselves can and does become our reality. Anyway, I digress. Early mornings, the benefits. So since I've become a morning person, I really have seen the benefits. I'm less of a morning person recently. I used to be up at 5, 6, sometimes 7, and that was my sort of window of getting up. Whereas now, the window probably starts at 6:45 and ends at 8. So it's a bit later than it used to be. And I would like to get back into earlier mornings. But I'll be honest, I myself have got into bad habits. I've just deleted TikTok because I was scrolling every night. Really bad habit, I know. And we all do it. We all do the scroll, whether it's playing games, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whatever the hell it is. We're all guilty of it sometimes. So I'm definitely in that habit at the moment. So that's something I'm working on again. Um, but yeah, I'm always up before 8 without fail. And I think it's just when my mind works best, my body works best. I get up, first thing I do is get outside, fresh air, exercise, go to the gym if I can. Um, some days I can't. Some days I start work at 8 and I'm like, okay, I've just got to be online. I've just got to work. And then the minute I get a break, like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, straight to the gym, get that, you know, vitamin D, get that fresh air, get the gym session in, go for a long walk if I want, whatever it is. But if I can go in the morning, I do. And then it's just about getting motivated. I like to make plans for my day. I like to make to-do lists. I like to keep, as I said, keep myself accountable. And those mornings, I really feel powerful. If I get a lot of stuff done by like 11 a.m., like I did today, I'm going to be honest, today was a great day, guys. Today was a great day. Then it just really changes the course of the whole of the rest of my day, changes the course of my week sometimes. Like today, the day of recording, I know this goes out on a Tuesday, but today when I'm recording is a Monday, and I've just started my week amazingly. I came back from home visiting my family yesterday, and you know, in doing that, had a few days off the gym because family is super important at the moment. Some of my family aren't well, and I had to focus on that. So that was really my time to recuperate. I had a few good nights sleep, early nights because I was staying with my nan. No gym, just yoga every day, gentle walking every day, just really took it easy. So Monday today came and I thought, right, back to it. Up at 7, did some stuff, played with the cat because I've got a cat, love him. Did a job interview, went to the gym, went to a cafe and just worked on this podcast, worked on promoting it, worked on all the things I need to work on, made plans for another side hustle business that I'm working on at the moment, made plans for something else, did another job interview, did some LinkedIn posts, did some Instagram posts around business and around the podcast, made some plans, wrote some to-do lists, wrote some goals, ticked off some goals. And do you know what? Did my washing. And by 12 o'clock, I'd done all this stuff and it just changes my whole. When you've done a day like that and it's not even halfway through the day, the rest of the day feels so easy because you get to the rest of the day and it's pride. You're proud of yourself. You feel motivated. you feel excited, you feel hopeful, you feel good. And then what that does is that means that for the rest of the day, you have two options. You can just chill the hell out. Like, I decided this afternoon, I want to record a podcast. I've got another podcast recording after this with a guest, and then I'm going to chill the hell out. And I'm going to do some job applications in between, right? Great. That's all well and good. But at some point, I'm going to chill the hell out. But then also, what it does is it allows you the option to chill out because you've done everything you need to do. But it also allows you to do more because you've put yourself into that motivated mindset. And I promise you, my way of thinking is if you get up and get everything you can done in the morning, right? So that you can chill in the afternoon, the evening. If you look at it that way, then what happens is you get to the afternoon and you actually don't want to chill because your mindset is just productive, productive. Look how much I've achieved. Look how good I feel. Look how amazing everything is. And you just want to carry on. And then you find that you don't rest until like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 p.m. You have a couple of hours rest and then you're like tired and ready for sleep. And then you wake up again early, excited and motivated for the day. And it just really is like the happiest cycle. I really do feel like early mornings are the fucking bomb. Like they really are. Sorry for swearing all the way through this, but like I can't explain to you how important and how magical early mornings are. I really want to get back into getting up at 6 though, especially as spring is coming. I mean, it's not coming just yet. We're a couple of weeks away, month, maybe a month or so away, but spring is around the corner. The days are getting slightly longer. So I really want to slowly get into like getting up at 6, getting that early vitamin D hit, getting that early sunshine, that early exercise. And then I can start my day at 7 and my exercise and my sunlight's already done. And then I really am set for the day. So yeah, I'd really recommend being a morning person. You know, start gradually. If you're someone that can't be a morning person, get up at 10 instead of 11. Get up at 9 instead of 10. Start slowly. Just say, right, this week I'm just going to get up an hour early every day. That's all I need to do, just little by little, step by step. In that hour, just think, right, I'm going to get up and I'm either going to take it slow for that hour and then be productive at the time I would normally have woken up, or I'm going to use this hour to get outside. The minute you get outside, your mindset will just change. You might not want to, and trust me, this is another thing I need to talk about. That mindset of thinking that you've got to do something is so powerful. There are days when I just really don't want to go to the gym, and I will just sit there and think, I don't want to go. But the second you get out of your house, everything gets easier. It's pushing past that initial thought and just taking what I call is taking the first step. For me, it's taking that first step. If I don't want to go to the gym and I think I actually am going to hate myself if I go to the gym, I can't think of anything worse. I just want to sit here and be a slob. I just go, right, we'll just step outside the house and see how you feel. So I get ready and I step outside the house and I think to myself, I'm going to go back in and chill. I'm going to step outside the house just to shut myself up. Then I'll chill. The minute I'm outside, I think, I might as well just walk down the road and see how I feel. I can walk there and back and not go in. And then at least I've got some steps in. By the time you've walked there, you're like, I'm here. I feel good. Let's go. And it's like, it's just getting past that first step. And it's the same with like mornings, like get up. I'm gonna go outside. Just go. Just go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fuck it. Fuck it, let's go. Just do it. All the fucking phrases. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Just do it. Whatever. And it just gets easier. The minute you take that first step, it really gets easier. Um, and then there's obviously like the scientific side of it, like the science behind it. The science behind getting up early, I don't know a lot about it, but I know that like early morning sunlight and exercise has so many benefits to your overall mood and your how you feel overall. So like, you know, vitamin D is so good for you. That brings about good mood, it makes you healthy. It's good for you. Fresh air is good for you. So good for you, good for your soul, good for like keeping you well. Exercise, movement, it's good for your body, it's good for you physically, it's good for you mentally. It's proven scientifically. Walking in the morning is so good for you. Like, look it up, it's so proven. I wish I had like an expert on here to just reiterate and confirm what I'm saying, but you can Google all of these things, and I promise you. Um, so that's early mornings, I highly recommend. And listening to a podcast in the morning is always good. Put a podcast on. If you're not someone that loves an early morning, just think, oh, I just really want to listen to a podcast or I really want to listen to some music. Just think, oh, I'm just going to walk around the block and put a podcast on in my in my headphones or put my favorite tunes on. Oh my God, music in the morning or podcast in the morning makes such a difference to my day. Like, again, proven that music in the morning makes you feel good. It's also proven something I've found out recently, which I love. I love this fact. I haven't tested it yet. I don't know if it's true, but one second, guys, my light has gone out. My light that lights up this podcast for videos has just literally just died on me. Just bear with. Um, but yeah, a fact that I learned recently, which I really want to test, is that apparently bird sounds in the morning switch your whole day, like switch your whole mind and your mood for the day. So, like, basically, if you live in the countryside and the first thing you hear when you wake up is birds tweeting, apparently you're meant to be like the happiest people. And this guy that I was listening to, I can't remember where it was. If I find it, I'll credit it, obviously. Said that, what you should do if you live in a city like I do is play bird sounds in the morning. Like when you wake up, just listen to like 20 seconds of like birds chirping or singing or whatever. And I'm yet to find out if that actually makes a difference to me. I'm sure it does if it's scientifically proven, but I find birds chirping so irritating. So I'm like, is that really true? I don't know. Like, there's times when there's been birds just like, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, like crazy. But I guess if you wake up at 7 a.m. anyway, and then you hear it after you're awake, I guess it wouldn't annoy you as much. So I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give it a go. Um, so yeah, music, podcast in the morning, get up early, get exercise, get vitamin D, get sunlight, get outdoors, all of these things would just make such a difference to your life overall. If you're someone that doesn't do these things and you're feeling super down, I promise you, give it a go. Just go, I'm going to be that person for a week. And if I don't like it, I can go back to being the old me. Who cares? It's a week out of your life. Just do it. Just try it. Um, and that brings me on quite nicely, actually, to the benefits of consistency. Because consistency, I kind of avoid this sometimes and I kind of hate it in a weird way. I kind of hate the word consistency because it always makes me think of like all these kind of fitness people that I see on Instagram who are like PTs or like fitness Insta famous people, influencers, whatever. And they bang on about consistency. And I just think, okay, we get it. I can't be consistent all the time. And sometimes I really struggle with things. Like I'm not the slimmest, I'm not the most athletic, I'm not these things, but I'm trying. And I think when it comes to stuff like that, the way they can just be consistent with like their eating and consistent with their daily workouts and like lifting heavy and they like lift 70 kg and all of this stuff, it kind of just makes you feel like, well, I can't do that. So then that word consistency really irritates me because it just reminds me of that. But like, I think with me, I can get hard on myself with consistency because I am super consistent. But if I have a few days where I'm not, then that word annoys me because I think, well, I can't be consistent all the freaking time. Like, I just can't. Like, work gets in the way. I'm freelance, so freelance work might get in the way. I'm now going to be volunteering at a radio station. That might get in the way. Like, different things are going to interrupt the consistency. My mood, my cycle, my hormones, my family situation with poorly family members, and like my emotions, like all these different things. So when I can't be consistent, I get really annoyed at myself, which is why I hate that word. But I think with consistency, it's more about doing what you can when you can. And I think for me personally, it's like I consistently try and show up as my best. And if I can't, I can't, but I try. And I think that's the key. So I think like I have bad days. I have days where I don't get up early. Like that's a lie. I'm always awake before 8 o'clock, just always. But there's days when like I'll lie in bed till half eight, and then when I do get up, I'll like slowly start the day. I'm not perfect. I'm not super consistent to like rigid constraint, I'm a human. Um, but I try and be consistent where I can. I think every day that I have a day off, I'm like, I'm going to get up before this time just so I can start my day early. And then I'm going to work on these things and I'm going to go to the gym and I just have little things that I stay consistent with. I'm going to journal every day. I'm going to go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. I'm going to do yoga 3 times a week. I'm going to write a daily to-do list, even if there's not much on it some days and there's loads on it other days. I'm going to keep up with my podcast. I want to make sure it's consistent. I want to make sure it's, regular and, reliable. And like I have these little plans, if you like, in my head where it's, as I said, gym 4 to 5 times a week. Because that's one of my little plans. I keep it in my head. I stay consistent with it. And like I said, I've just been home. I had a few days off the gym. So that week it wasn't possible. I think I went to the gym 3 or 4 times before I went home, maybe three. So then I couldn't make it 4 or 5 times like I normally would. Had a bit of a like low gym week, if you like. But there's a reason, and that's okay. And it's like I was consistent where I could be. So I guess what I'm trying to say is when you try and be consistent and you keep up with the things that matter to you, you will feel good. Consistency is key, guys. Consistency is key to business. Consistency is key to being successful. Consistency is key to building a brand. Consistency is key to, working out. Consistency is key to eating healthy. Consistency is key to feeling good. Consistency is key to keeping up with your social life. Everything, everything, everything. Consistency is key. And on top of that, discipline. Discipline is so important because where I said this week I wasn't able to get to the gym, I physically wasn't able to be consistent as I would like to be. I was as consistent as I could be. If that was a normal week and I just hadn't gone, that's where it would be like discipline needs to come into play. I don't want to go to the gym today. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Be disciplined. As I said, take that first step. Get yourself outside. Think, I know this is going to make me feel good in the long run. You have to think of your long-term happiness, the long-term benefits, and your mind and your body and how they're going to benefit from doing the things that you're doing every day. It's so important. And for me, it's like 3 words, right? So discipline equals love, which equals feeling good, happiness, basically. Discipline equals love, which equals happiness. Because when you're disciplined with yourself, you're doing it because you love yourself and you love yourself enough to know that the overall outcome is going to make you happier than not being disciplined. So staying in bed and not going to the gym might make you feel better in that moment, right? Temporarily, but overall, it will affect your mental health. The more you just don't stay disciplined and you let yourself down, the more you'll just start to feel like, oh, I'm just not good enough. I can't do this. I'm not that. And your happiness goes down. So discipline equals love because you're loving yourself enough to know that, yeah, if I go 5 times a week, I'm gonna feel good. I know I am because I've done it before, I've tried it, or I haven't tried it, but I feel like I know that people say it works. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to try it because I love myself. I'm going to give it a go and try it for me, for my benefit. Don't get in your own way. One thing I really think about human beings is we're so good at getting in our own way. We're so good at making excuses. But the excuses don't harm anyone but you. And I've always thought this. And this is something that has kept me on track throughout my entire life, which is that excuses are what people do to stop their own happiness. You make an excuse as to why you can't go gym. You make an excuse as to why you can't start that business you want to start. You make an excuse as to why you don't have time to do this. You don't have time to do that. You don't have the money for this. I know people that will be like, I really want to live in the city. I'm so unhappy where I am. Oh, but I don't have the money or the means to move to a city. And I think you do, we all do. Find a way. Like just find a flat and find a job. It's not that hard. And I know it is hard, guys. I know like life is hard at the minute. We're all struggling. But things are possible. I moved to London in the middle of lockdown, and that was incredibly hard. I had to get on a bus and a train in lockdown to do house viewings where the police were going up and down the trains asking people where they were going, and I had to lie and say I was going to work and come up with this like extravagant excuse. And then I had to come to London to do house viewings when we weren't supposed to, and lie to everyone around me about where I was to be able to move to London. And then I moved in lockdown with no job. and just did temporary work handing out hand sanitizer in a train station for like a month just to get enough money to save to keep me going until the next thing. And I'm here now, still 3, 4 years later, loving it, living the best version of my life. It's possible. The only barriers in life are your own barriers that you put into place. We're so good at making up excuses for ourselves. So, back to the sentence that I love: discipline equals love. That discipline is what gets you. My light's gone out again. It doesn't like to stay on this light. Um, discipline. Discipline equals love. It's love for yourself. It's love for the outcome. It's love for the future you, the future of your life, everything like that. You love yourself if you're disciplined with yourself, believe it or not. And I know some people will say, "Oh, being so disciplined, I don't know how you do that. I love myself too much to get up early and do this. Like, I just want to stay in bed. I want to be comfy. It's self-care. It's self-love." It's not. It's not. Eating shit every day and staying in bed and just taking it slow and just doing whatever you want to do. You don't want to go to the gym, but you want to go for drinks every day. You want to do drugs because it's fun. That isn't self-love. That's not self-love. That is self-sabotage. You just don't realize it because you're getting short-term bursts of like happiness and reward. But in the long term, it's really damaging. So discipline is love. I promise you it's love. It's love for yourself, love for, the best version of you. And then discipline equals love equals happiness. It really does. When you learn to be disciplined, I promise you, you become so happy. And when you learn to be disciplined because you love yourself, loving yourself makes you happy because you become so proud of yourself and just so positive every day. So that's my favorite phrase. Discipline equals love equals happiness. Every day, all day, every day. All day, every day. But just to kind of finish off, I do want to touch on the fact that we can't be this person every day. And I am preaching and I am, you know, explaining what works for me and what works for what does actually work for all human beings. We just don't know it. We just make excuses for ourselves. But in saying that, we are all literally human. So we do have to have days where we are kinder to ourselves. And that's where, you know, planning comes in, or, you know, yeah, planning, basically. For example, you want to do a Pilates challenge. You want to start doing Pilates every day, every week, forever, whatever. Most people will say, I'm going to do Pilates 4 times a week if that's what you want to do, right? The reason you're doing 4 times a week is because you're going to have days where you physically can't, you're busy, you're working, whatever. You're going to have days where you physically don't, you don't want to, you feel unwell, like you actually do need to rest. And there's really a difference. It's actually quite hard to know the difference between, am I being lazy but because I don't feel like going, or am I actually like, I actually need to nourish my body and rest? And I struggle with that. Sometimes I'm like, no, I actually need to rest. And someone will say, no, Beth, you're just making an excuse. And I'll be like, okay. And I listen to them and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't need to rest. I just thought I did. So it's hard to know the line, but there are going to be days where you're going to want to rest and you're going to want to be kind to yourself. And that's really important as well, which is why, you know, we have to plan. Some people want to go gym 7 days a week, others don't. I don't. And I plan that I'm going to go 5 days a week. And I plan that so that what I do is every single day that I can go, even if I don't want to, I force myself and I push past that barrier and I discipline myself, because there are going to be days where I physically can't go. And if I push myself the first 5 days of the week and then it gets to Saturday and I still feel like I can go, I'm like, oh my God, amazing. I've done 6 days this week. Incredible. And then it gets to Sunday and I go, right, okay, now I am actually going to rest because I've really fucking earned it. And I feel like I could still go like the seventh day, but actually I'm going to have a really well-deserved, well-earned rest. And that rest feels so good, let me tell you, because you've earned it. So planning is really key, like planning, not to overload, planning within your means, planning with what you're capable of. And when you're feeling super low, just being kind to yourself, like self-love and self-care do go hand in hand. Self-love, I think, is all about discipline. Self-care is about nourishing and resting, but they do go hand in hand sometimes. And I think I do really think some people over egg the self-care. Like it's such a trend now. Like just rest, just do what you want, just have coffee every day, go for coffee every day, coffee and wine, coffee in the morning, treat yourself, have a croissant, have a in the evening, have a bath, have a wine, do whatever the hell you want. Say no to people, say no to things you don't want to do. And it's like a whole trend. But I just think it's kind of bullshit. Like, I think there's a place for self-care, and that's on those days where you really need it. And one thing that I struggle with, which this brings me on to, is as a woman, the cycle. So our monthly cycles, I personally try and things that I do in my life, for example, I fast. I do intermittent fasting when I can. I eat well. I've recently cut sugar. I'm all forever trying to cut out sugar. It's such a bane of my life. I am so addicted to sugar. It's a joke. Um, this selfie light is driving me mad. It really is the bane of my life, and I really struggle with cutting sugar, but recently done it again. So I cut sugar, intermittent fast, I go gym, I do Pilates, I do yoga, I do all these things. But that week before my period is when everything is a struggle. So what I'm trying to do is the 3 weeks where I'm good, I'm trying to really push myself. The 3 weeks where I know I'm at my best, I'm like gym, 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 intermittent fasting, cut that sugar, really cut back. And then when it gets that week before my period, I'm like, oh my God, have a chocolate. Have a chocolate. Go to like reduce your gym sessions. Also, what I try and do is still go to the gym, but have easier gym sessions. So I'm doing my heaviest deadlift in my best week of my cycle, the week after my period. Get that personal best. Do those heavy deadlifts. I'm sprinting on the treadmill, not for long because I'm not a sprinter, but sprinting, deadlifting, I'm doing all these things. I'm upping my weights. I'm doing my personal best. I'm increasing my weights then because that's when I'm going to get it. And then that week before my period, when I'm at my lowest energy and I feel shit, I feel emotional, I'm going and I'm just cross trainer, 20 minutes slow. Do a few exercises that I normally do, but do them on the lower weight. Like I've just recently upped my weights, but let's go back to the weights I was at before just for this week and just get, the consistency. Let's push. Let's do repetition, Let's get the reps in. Normal weight. Don't push myself too hard. In the evening, have a chocolate. Have some carbs. Like, don't fast in that week. It's so important not to fast in that week of of your phase. I actually can't remember the phase, like the different phases. Um, I'm gonna Google it, guys, as we're recording. Phase before period. You guys are probably shouting this out to me. The luteal phase, I believe. Yeah. So, yeah, the luteal phase, that's it. Some of you probably know this off by heart, and I'm just Googling it. The luteal phase, that's when you get your PMS. It's when you get your mood swings, you're tired, you're bloated, you all of these things. You've got back pain, headaches, whatever. So that's when I'm kind to myself. That's when I'm like, right, the consistency doesn't need to be as strong. I just need to do my best and keep trying. The minute that phase is done, I'm like, right, I'm on it. Get on it. That's when my discipline comes in and I'm like, you've got to get this shit done now. This is your time. So there's a time and a place for being soft and kind with ourselves. And it is important. It is, I just believe discipline is more important. Um, and there are obviously other things that affect, when you need to be kind to yourself. Your female cycle isn't the only one. You might have had like a family member's had some really bad news, is really poorly. Like I've had that recently. And I had a week where I was really struggling and really emotional. And, I really needed to take care of myself that week. And forcing myself to the gym to do a deadlift wasn't top of my priority list in that week. These things don't happen all the time though, which is why discipline and consistency for the most part is so important, because then when these little anomalies come up that you can't avoid, it means that you're able to have that self-love and that self-care, and you're able to be softer with yourself and kinder. Um, you might have had some bad news at work, you might have lost your job, you might be actually ill, you might have the flu, you might be unwell. And these are all times when like emotional distress, big stressors in life, and things that affect your mental health and your physical health, they are reasons to practice self-care and to slow down and stop. But I think around those times, when those times aren't happening, is when you have to be disciplined. Get up early, get it done. As I said, fresh air, vitamin D, exercise, all of these things are so important for happiness. So to answer your question, guys, that is how I stay positive. And I just find that like I'm floating on air. Like I get up and I'm excited to get up. And another thing is as well, if you're not excited to get up in the morning, you're not going to want to get up early. And if you're not excited to get up in the morning, think about why. Like, do you hate your job? Do you hate where you live? Like, what are the reasons? Try and like, if you're someone that is really struggling and maybe you've got valid reason like that, sit down with a notebook, with a journal, whatever works for you, with a friend, even whatever, and figure out what it is that's not making you enjoy life and not making you want to get up in the morning. Figure that shit out. Identify those issues. Once you've done that, you can then really work on changing them because only you can change your life. Not a single person who can change your life for you. And this is something I've realized in life. People around you are never going to change your life for the positive, only for the negative. An employer can sack you. Like a landlord can kick you out. Someone can do something bad to you. But for good things to happen, only you can do that. Only you can get yourself a promotion by working your ass off. Only you can move house. Only you can get a job offer. No one's going to magically appear in front of you and offer you a job if you've not put yourself out there and applied and been your best self. Like people around you can only give you bad. You have to do the good. And that's so important to remember. Um, so yeah, I've lost my train of thought, guys. Um, yeah. So create a life you want to wake up to. Create a life you want to get up for. It's so important. And it's not going to be perfect. We don't have full control over everything in our life. As I said, family members can get ill, things can happen. You can lose a house, you can lose a job, you can have a breakup. These things happen. But control what you have control over. Like make everything that can be good, good. And then when those things happen, it gets so much easier to cope with it. Like that's one thing I've learned in therapy this year is I wondered how I was dealing so well with bad things that were happening. And it's because I have so much control over everything else in my life. And I've done my healing and I'm doing my therapy and I'm working so hard at consistency and discipline and positivity that when these bad things happen, I'm just like, cool, I got this. Like, it's good because everything else in my life is great. So I can handle it. I've got this. I have it under control. And your reaction to those bad things becomes so much better. And you don't get as affected as much. Like you just have a way of handling it better when you've taken control of everything you can. The things you can't control become easier to handle, basically. So yeah, create a life you want to wake up to. That is really key here. And because I get excited about like doing my podcast, I get excited about my freelance life, my work that I do. I'm excited about the things I want to do. I'm excited about going to the gym. I'm excited about going for coffee. I'm excited about seeing my friends. Like everything in life excites me. So I want to get up. And maybe that's why I find it easy. I don't know. But that's it really. Those are the keys to positivity. For sure. Tried and tested, guys. Tried and tested. This isn't just like, oh, she's just preaching from nowhere. It's tried and tested. Like I have been the other side of the coin. I've been the night owl, the miserable one, the one that needed alcohol and drugs and partying and all these different things, you know, like dating all the time and one night stands and whatever and friendships ending because I'm all over the place. Like, I've been through all this stuff. And then years and years later, I've gradually like learnt the key to happiness and the key to being positive, and it's this. So like I'm preaching from a place of knowledge. But I know that it's hard as well, and we're all human. But I hope someone's taken something away from this today, and I hope it's helped. If anyone wants to ask any questions, totally free to give advice on anything. Um, Send your questions in, and I will obviously do more episodes on anything you want me to talk about. But yeah, Key takeaway, discipline equals love equals happiness. That's my key phrase for you guys today, which I hope you take away. I hope you take it away. I hope you discipline yourself. I hope you love yourself and I hope you're happy. And that is it. That is it. I don't know why I'm waving a pen around. Um, I wish you all love and discipline and happiness and contentment and excitement and hope. And I hope someone's been inspired. And I look forward to seeing you all again next time. Thank you so, so much, guys, for all your support. Download, comment, share, whatever it is, whatever you want to do, get it done. We love you. Totally grateful for all my listeners. And I'll see you again next week. Bye.